Okay, hello everyone. This is our first episode of Data Engineering System Design, and today we have Sergey, who will try to work on our assignment. Sergey, you can introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sergey. I'm a data engineer working in Canada for, I guess, for quite some time right now. My main stack is Azure Databricks. I'm familiar with other stacks, but this is just my main bread and butter. Yeah, I'm excited to work on this mock assignment right now.
Yeah. So they let's so we'll focus on the data engineering system design. It is different from traditional system design. Then someone asks you, can you design the Instagram or Twitter app and a bunch of services? So we'll focus on analytics and data engineering. And here we have the use case where you can think about there is the startup company. Their primary product is mobile application. And this mobile application is working on iOS and Android. You can download it from the store and install, or users can do it. So, and the engineering team, they are already using Azure as a backend. There are like a bunch of their backend services running, and they hosted all their services.
Mhm.
And they decided to invest into data infrastructure and hire their first data engineer who can help them to design the proper data infrastructure in data analytics. And there are a couple problems or use cases that they want to solve. You can think about they have the product team, they have marketing team, they spend a lot of money on like different advertisement, they spend a lot of time and effort on the product features, and but the lack of visibility what's working, what doesn't work. And some of the early questions they have, like starting from, they want to see what is the daily active users in their applications, and assume that applications already has some kind of system set up that's sending telemetry from client to server, and then it's landing nicely in NoSQL database Cosmos DB, it kind of as a document, like JSON document. So it has lots of events in like JSON. And then they also would like to know, like data engineer maybe can come up with other um, product metrics that might help to measure their business. At the same time, they have, because they have some financial operations, some transactions going on, and they log them everything in transactional database. Like they're using Azure Postgres, and eventually, they also want to integrate with different marketing services. So they have the advertisement in Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. So they want to be able to connect different APIs and push the data into like storage platform. So
Mhm.
what do you need to do? You need to come up with the architecture and analytics solution, basically end to end. So the end result you can think is about dashboard, like multiple dashboards with the metrics. You have metric and some historical data. So you need to start collecting this data, and then you will start work on this. You can discuss pros and cons of every decision you make, and of course you need to outline some best practices or like leverage the, for example, Azure engineering excellence framework, or I'm not sure how exactly it calls, but it should be cover like security, performance, different other aspects, and the good quality solution. Yeah, they're basically focusing on the engineering excellence. So if you have any questions, you can do. But basically, yeah, that's assignment. You have some systems that has some data. You will know
Mhm.
what they're there. You have the Azure. You have on another side you have some reporting. So you can go and build it.
All right. This sounds very complicated, actually. Um, all right. So, okay, I just need to review one more time. Okay.
Yeah, for the time we should have like 50 minutes, right, to build it end
All
to
right.
end, more or less. So a couple tips for you. You
Yeah.
either need to start from left to right, from source data to the dashboards on the right.
Mhm.
This is how I usually do, but you can also start from the dashboards to left to the sources, and
Yeah.
then you can outline like different layers using like layering system. Oh, this is our sources, this is our storage, this is our processing thing, this is our BI. And those are additional services that we can use, for example, for data observability or data quality. And you're not only limited to the Azure, you can use third-party services that works with Azure. It's up to you. But yeah, you basically you will start really high level to end to end, and then we can go deep in each particular decision or solution, why and what's the alternative available.
Sounds good. Can I quickly ask what the, one more time, integrate with backend transactional database, meaning that we want additional data from that database?
Yeah. So if you look to the data sources right now, we have 3 distinct data sources. It's Cosmos with NoSQL data, transactional database, just the Postgres. Maybe it has 5-10 tables, just a normal transactional database. Could be SQL Server, but it is Postgres. And then marketing APIs.
All right. And what does the backend transactional database stores?
It stores all financial transactions. For example, someone buy, because then assuming users start using the app, it's free. But eventually, if they subscribe to the service, they start paying money. So here you have kind of all the money, so
Sounds
revenue, and the Cosmos has the information about usage, like what buttons they used and how
Sounds
they
good.
used, what could they click, and so on.
Okay. And about the users of the, I guess, reports, is it business user? Is it data analysts who are going to be building something, or we need?
You can think about mostly starting from the team is small, like they have product managers. This is your primary audience. And for sure, like in the future, the company can extend to the data analyst who can dive into data, but ideally they want to like query the data from the central storage.
And what are the requirements for the, how, I guess, what is the latency for them? How much time they can wait to see the latest data? Or is that
that's the good questions. For example, if you would ask the product managers, they will tell you we want in real time. But if you would be realistic, the real time doesn't make sense. So you can just focus on the batch for those use cases, and maybe assuming refresh the data every hour.
All right. Okay, that's helpful actually. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Well, because it's because I need, since I've actually done proper design, like the such interview, but I would, as you advise as well, I would start from the, well, I just know how often they need to. Now I understand that at least at this point of time, I need to build a batch pipeline, the process that going to be triggered in some periodically. Okay. One of my concern is that should I actually make this solution thinking that in future it's going to be a bit more like real-time sort of thing?
Yeah, I think what you can think, what real good thing to, you have the business request. So, and assuming it's really urgent. So for now, you need just to build something to make sure it is working.
All right.
Of course, over the time, you will have way more data, and you might even need something to have real time. But I don't think we expect the completely switch to real time, but you might think about some complementary service related to real time.
Sounds good. Well, in general, because it does sound like ADF could be a good option, at least at this point, because ADF has a connector to Cosmos DB. we can get data from there. It's definitely very well suited for Azure Postgres. Again, like maybe before we go to some CDC, which probably we can set up as well for Azure Postgres, maybe we can select exact tables for now, which like minimum viable product, which tables we need to pull, and we'll definitely make a workflow in ADF that pulls in from those sources. But then I still need to think about the processing engine for the calculating metrics and stuff. So I don't have too many options rather than Fabric and Databricks, I think. So definitely, since it's a...
You have also Snowflake.
Oh yeah, actually, you know what?
But you can even go like, yeah, there is Synapse, there is Fabric, there is
Yeah,
Snowflake, there is Databricks. All of them works with Azure platform.
they do. Yeah. Honestly, I would like to try Snowflake, but I guess if I have to just, I like Databricks because I know a lot about it.
Now you can go with Databricks.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, I'm not going to be focusing at this point on the like details for the networking and stuff, I guess, because we're talking about the not the infrastructure overall of the platform, but the data engineering part of it, right? Okay. So I think this should be... So I'll start from my sources, and I'll just pull some of the databases. Where's the Cosmos DB? I'll do with a SQL.
It's Postgres. I think this with Elephant would be work nice.
All right. Where are you, Elephant? I think you saw it.
Yeah, the second row.
Oh yeah. I don't know what is that, but
I think manage Postgres.
Oh right. Okay. Then still need the API.
You can use any kind of gear or something like any. It doesn't matter. You can search. Yeah, you can,
whatever it is, probably this.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So definitely, this would be, I guess, first thing that we can do, because what my goal is to, again, since it's a it's batch, I can definitely leverage my intermediate storage, the ADLS, Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, just drop my files, and then you know what? It's pretty much any Snowflake or anything Databricks can grab data from there. They should be, for me, pretty straightforward. I will go with this just for now.
But you extracting with IDF to blob storage, right?
Yes. So I would like to drop the files, and basically, since it's Databricks, I'm gonna use the autoloader. Honestly, it does seem like at this point I don't have a specific metrics on my mind, but I will actually choose at this point. Let me just choose. There is a So with regards to Databricks, Databricks has a very becoming better and better framework, Delta Life Tables, which can sort of deal with. It's a declarative framework that allows to, I guess, easier management of the data. I dealt with it. I have some production workflows on it, and especially if the transformation is not very complicated, and I imagine they should be the case, I would like actually to use Delta Life Tables. I really like their materialized views and streaming tables.
By Delta Live Tables, you means to replace the Data Factory framework?
Oh no, just in Databricks. So basically, instead of
after you ingest. So since you're talking about Databricks, maybe you can talk about like medallion architecture, how you
right.
will layers inside Databricks.
Right.
And then yeah, you will highlight how you can like when and what you're gonna use between
Sounds
Data
good.
Factory and DLT. And also, since you kind of like have two orchestration framework, I'm curious about how you can control by Data Factory, like when to run what, avoiding like running them in parallel or collide together.
All right. That's a good point. I'll sounds good. Thank you for the hint. Yes. So I will leverage since I'm using Databricks and Delta Live Tables on specific Databricks, I will try to leverage the Lakehouse architecture, which was originally introduced by Databricks, and this architecture usually implemented by, there is common three steps in this architecture: bronze, silver, and gold. And my metric is going to be living in gold, and then between bronze is going to be just the copy of my source data, just in Delta format. We drop all data there. They probably could live in different tables. We're not going to be aggregating, or we're not going to be merging these sources. So we're going to be putting them in different tables. So silver as well, it's going to be cleans data. So same sort of tables, but just in silver layer. We're going to clean up the data. We're going to maybe confirm some of the dates, and we convert the data to maybe integers or floats. So we're going to clean up the data, and then the data are going to be awaiting for building the metrics. So leveraging this architecture, we are able to streamline the processes, and it should work best for us within specifically Databricks. So for example, by using this architecture, we keeping data in bronze, and we can always come back to the data if we need to. For example, we need to maybe reduce something, so the bronze data are going to be always there. As well, what's good with the Delta format and Databricks, I guess it has a very good schema evolution management. So I imagine, since the data is in Cosmos DB and unstructured data, there is a chance that, because it does handle them, semi-structured data that can have different schemas. So I imagine in future there are going to be potential that we need to bring more fields from Cosmos DB. So Delta format should handle this type of situation very well. Okay, enough talking. Just do some.
And you mentioned about Delta. I know that Databricks acquired Iceberg in the past. So why not using Iceberg, or not using the unified like format? I don't know if it's make difference.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
That's a good point to highlight when you talk about Delta.
Yeah. I honestly, I guess
But
I don't
it's
know
fine.
if there is any specific benefit at this point. Depending actually, if we are going to be keeping the data in Delta using Databricks.
Yeah.
So
But okay.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna using Delta and Databricks, what's about catalog? Like, are you gonna use Unity catalog
Mhm.
or like default catalog? How you handle catalog?
Sounds good. If I may just go back to Iceberg or Unified.
Hmm.
So I know that Databricks is not the only engine that can process Delta.
Hmm.
Right now, there are other engines and I guess libraries, specifically Python libraries, and there is other, I guess, databases or like, for example, DalDB. There is Polars that are able. So what the point I'm trying to make, um, I think. Um, so if at this point there is no specific requirements that we need to let other users and like we're the only owners of this solution, I'll go directly with Delta because that's what
Hmm.
Databricks native is. So if
Okay.
there is any requirements that, for example, we need to let data analyst or any other users to to work with the data, like read data, maybe write data to their own tables, I might consider different formats within Databricks. So, but I know that those libraries already are able to use read both Delta and Iceberg. I think Polars or DuckDB is better. I'm not sure they can write data. They probably can write data to Delta directly, but I guess coming to the catalog, the Databricks native catalog is the Unity catalog,
Hmm.
allowing for governance of the, I guess, of the assets within Databricks and with external systems. So I guess the problem with formats right now is that not all of them can write and read data through Unity catalog. And but if to, I guess, put this aside, I think if there's any requirements, we can definitely take a look at like migrating the data. But at this point, I think we shouldn't be like really thinking much about.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So for the um, just for the architecture, I'm trying to find some containers or something.
No, you can just use the square,
Yeah, or I'll use this for Delta.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, okay, so this is going to be Databricks. Maybe, yeah, thank you for pointing out about the catalog. Because I'm trying to remember actually if because the like Databricks has external tables and managed tables.
Hmm.
So I guess Unity catalog, not specific Databricks managed tables.
Yeah.
And I actually don't know if they can be anything but Delta. I actually am interested to learn about it. Maybe if not, that would be definitely the reason to go ahead with Delta. I
Hmm.
know there are benefits to this managed table just because um, uh, we can enable certain features that we don't need to write. Don't need to think. Well, I guess not to think, but take care of the maintenance, like optimization commands and analyze commands, so that allow to sort of take care of the data in the storage. So it's abstracted from us, and Databricks run the maintenance when it needs to. So I guess that would be a benefit of using Unity Catalog managed tables. Because, so for example, if we use serverless, like any Delta Live tables or classic workflows, or they're gonna soon call them Lakehouse flows, in probably in 1 week, they work well with Unity Catalog. So everything is actually interconnected within Databricks. So I would definitely thank you for kind of asking me about that. For governance purposes, I would definitely use Unity Catalog. I don't think there's any other options at this point, but I know that in order to manage everything, have observability, and I guess a cost management and everything included, Unity Catalog would be a great option for that.
Yeah.
So again, maybe I can come back to costing or observability later. But I guess why did I choose Delta Live Tables? Because I
No,
know.
I think it's good. Yeah, you reply. You have many more things to cover.
Yeah.
Like I think for now, you extracting with Data Factory, uh, pushing to storage account, and then using autoloader to
Yeah.
ingest in Databricks, and it's assuming writing into bronze layer.
Yeah.
The one question that I'm curious, how you doing like incremental load from the source systems, and also did you use the data factory to extract data from external APIs?
Yes. Incremental load from the sources.
Because you have Postgres, right? Your transactional tables, and assuming they have like different like something that can help identify its new data or old. And the Cosmos, it's more like just event-based data, so it doesn't change in the past. It's only like appending new one, and it will be very expensive for you to reload all full tables from Postgres and full table from Cosmos every time. So that's why you need to identify the fresh data only
Yeah.
and push it. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you for asking me that. So I know that Cosmos DB has a change data capture feature. Um, 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 it's just I'm thinking. So I know that they
Because if you talk about Cosmos DB, do you know the options for you to extract data from Cosmos DB in Data
yeah.
Factory? Like, can you name them?
So I'm just thinking that definitely maybe Data Factory, we definitely can use it. I think there are data flows. I
No,
think
I think data flow, it's a kind of like transformation thing.
yes, data flows transformation thing.
But you just good enough with copy activity. So, but because the copy activity itself, you need to use linked service for compute. And I think then we talk about Cosmos DB, you can use different options for compute. Outside, you can use the Cosmos DB itself, like just query as any other database, or you can use something else.
To be honest, I don't know about that. I like with regards to the
There is Azure Cosmos Analytical Store. So it's basically using Azure Synapse link to you can enable this, and then you can use the Azure Synapse for compute to query not the Cosmos DB, but like this analytical layer.
Is it like HTAP?
And
Is it called HTAP? Hybrid Transaction Analytical Store, something like that?
Maybe yes. It's about transaction store, but I think the idea that the bottom line, you can use Synapse to query Cosmos, and it in theory it should be cheaper versus, because then you're using Cosmos DB and query it doesn't has partitions like by date or by, for example, it could be partitioned by user, but then you filter fresh data, it basically you might scan a lot of data unnecessary. So that's one consideration. But okay, if we talk about OLTP database, how are you gonna establish like, and what mechanism can help you to track the data, like the data you loaded versus data is not loaded?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, Cosmos DB, we can definitely use the function as well. I guess depends on with the change data feed, but yeah.
What is the function?
Well, we can trigger functions on the change data feed. I believe so from the Cosmos DB, and the only problem is that I'm not sure if the amount of data that we have. You know what? I'll just drop this explanation for now. Just I know that we can trigger functions on the in
Yeah, no, I
with,
think in Data Factory you can trigger functions.
I thought to use function maybe to transfer the data. I'm not sure if it's the best.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Okay. You know what? With regards to the databases, there are several ways to do it. We can use the so-called Debezium, or ADF itself. It has a change data capture feature, which should work well with databases as well. Definitely, we can use the timestamps and keep sort of metadata-driven pipeline, which if we do have some timestamp in our database, for probably transactions do have, so we could leverage that in order to pull the data. I guess that could be an option, depending on how many tables do we have. OLTP must be having a lot of tables, honestly. But timestamp could be a viable solution as well. I think it's definitely could be quicker way and more straightforward to onboard the transactional database. I would take a look at the volume of data and how many tables we need to pull. So I think the decision on the incremental load would depend on that. So with regards to the APIs, Databricks works well with pulling data from APIs. They do have...
But in your diagram, you're using Data Factory to pulling API.
Yes. Did I say... What did I say?
You said Databricks can pull
Oh,
API.
I'm sorry.
But
Data
this
Factory,
is
yes.
also correct.
Yeah, we can actually do it. Honestly, data ADF, again, depends how much we need to pull, and depends maybe complexity of the data and how do we need to connect. Maybe actually there is even some native connectors from Data Factory. Databricks could be more expensive to do it as well. I guess I would think about...
in Data Factory, what activity can you use for connecting API?
Forgot specific the name, but there are HTTP hooks, which basically you can definitely create the data set, but actually not necessary.
Okay.
I know that actually I would actually create the data set, and I think within, if we do create link services, what I like actually about that when we create link service, we can connect the key wall to it, and it can pull data from key walls and very smoothly transfer, like if we need any secrets or...
You actually, you mentioned the key vault, and I think it's very important, like then we talk about secure solution, that you will use key vault to storing all the secrets and pulling them across the services.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so especially if we need to refresh any tokens, the getting refreshing tokens, access tokens. So right now I'm
okay.
I've actually can talk to...
Let's move next to assuming because you mentioned you have 3 layers in Databricks, and you know that you have 3 sources, assuming like the bronze layer will just sync like one-to-one. But also interesting question about Cosmos DB, because Cosmos DB has the JSON documents that might have the nested structure. So in what part of your transformation you want to unnest it? Do you want unnested like in the bronze, you want to nest it later in the silver,
Mm-hmm.
how you want to handle this, but also how you want to use your layers. And what is about data modeling? Like, do you want to
Mm-hmm.
use any data modeling techniques?
All right. Thank you for the question. So definitely bronze would be as is, just in Delta format. I could leverage the infer schema. So afterloader actually is really neat because it definitely has some of the neat features for working with schemas, and it has schema inference, so which allow us to infer the schema from the data set. I would definitely take a look at the how nested the data is, and because my silver data are going to be sort of the latest and greatest data, because I guess talking about um, bronze, we're going to be appending data to silver, we're going to be merging data. And then gold, I would say some materialized views for the metrics.
I'm curious about, yeah, it is clear about appending for the bronze, but the silver merging and the gold materialization, what's the difference? So if you have if you merge your, assume you need to merge it if you have some kind logic in it, and then you have like your fact table that, or maybe you can use window functions. That's why you don't want just to append, you want to update the historical based on your primary key. You do the merge statement, but is it a kind like already fact tables? If you
Up until silver, there is not going to be, well, if I'm just, yeah, I was not planning to do any fact tables up until gold. So
okay,
silver, basically, we're still not joining any sources, any tables,
but
unless there's some,
mhm.
sorry, unless there are so many lookup tables or we need to enhance a little bit data, just some small lookup tables we need to, I don't know, maybe we need to,
Okay. So quick question.
yeah.
Bronze, you mentioned appending, but what are you going to do with the Postgres data if you have, for example, customer tables and you have customer ID that updated his last name, right? And you appending, like, what does it mean? You will get like the same customer twice, or it means you need merge it, right?
Yeah.
You start merging even so. You couldn't just say I want everything merge or everything append. Because it's like it will be case by case matter.
Okay. All right. Thank you for asking. Yeah. So I would definitely review what type of data do we have. As you said, if there is any data that changes, and uh, as you said, so-called slowly change dimensions. I'm just thinking how to explain. So silver layer, maybe I'm wrong, but I would still consider my silver layer sort of merging, because I would
No,
still,
it could be merging. Yeah, maybe
so yeah, sorry.
I would, for example, what I am considering this for me, bronze and silver. So bronze is it's simply like one-to-one mapping what I have on the source.
Yeah, that's it.
The silver, I might introduce some joins between tables, like to create some. So basically, not changing the aggregation level still for most of the cases. Another use case for the silver might be if we're talking about like semi-structured data JSON with nested structure. For me, I'm expecting I will append it in the bronze, but I will start unpack it and flatten in the silver.
Yeah.
So that's couple use cases that I think. But the gold, I'm not sure about materialized views, but in the gold, I will start create some aggregates like to see the meta, because in BI we couldn't put the raw level data if you have lots of data, so we need to create some kind of aggregates, and this is what happened in the gold.
Yeah, so I'll explain what I mean by materialized views
Mm-hmm.
in Databricks. Yeah, yeah. So because I do have a case right now, I do keep in Silver, depending actually on the data, because if there is a snapshot data which I need to substitute, I might still in Silver I might still do a merge. It would be hard to explain, but even financial information, some financial statements, if you download the reporting and they come in the merge, so I might still keep Silver unstructured, and I guess this depends on the case. And I have an actually project right now integrating the accounting system, but yeah. So because I guess to add here, it always depends on the case. But for example, there is a guy from Advanced Analytics, really famous, and
Yeah, I know
the
him.
video, and he was saying actually, you know what? Like we're following this 3-hop architecture, but in general, they could be like 2 silver, right? Even 2 stages.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess same with DBT, there could be different intermediate layers and stuff. So I guess to the point, I would figure out in the silver if I need to
Mm-hmm.
unstructure, if I need to sort of keep it unstructured, add additional steps. So what I do right now, I do merge in silver and keep it unstructured, but additional hop in the silver, I explode the data at that point when I know
Mm-hmm.
the sort of, if it's a snapshot data specifically. So by materialized views, it's actually the feature in Databricks. That's where all of the metrics build aggregated. So why they're actually good? Again, I actually heard that Snowflake materialized views are better than Databricks. Just read about it yesterday. So depending, actually, I would definitely deep dive more in the project and see in the metrics and
Mm-hmm.
everything. You know what? Maybe in
Okay.
future Snowflake will be better, but I don't want to deviate too much.
What's about Databricks clusters and performance for your
Um,
table design?
Yeah, depending on that's a good question. Thank you. So depending, maybe I'll come back here later, but depending on amount of data. So as I mentioned, uh, we do have a managed unit catalog table, which are maintained and they are optimized and vacuumed. So they are depending on the volume of data, depending on the data itself, the how often we write and everything. The managed solution analyze it and sees because Delta is just Parquet files with a transaction log on top of it. So, and those Parquet files need to be optimized for the best performance. So managed solution take care of that. Regarding clustering, so there is a clustering feature in Databricks and there is partitioning. So I think Databricks advises not to partition it if it's less than 1 gigabyte of data of the table. They do promote a lot clustering. We actually can even do auto clusters. I do use one of the projects. So it allows, again, to adjust the performance based on the requests. So, but yeah, depending on the volume of data, I guess different tables can have different volume of data. So some, maybe some data which carries some dimensions, depending on their size, could be maybe clustered. Maybe some clickstream data could be as well partitioned, like if the volume is huge and every day we receive, we could definitely take a look at partitioning, again, depending on the volume of data, like monthly, daily, would be we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we could choose between those depending on the volume of data. Does it answer the question?
Yeah, I think. But overall, what techniques available in Databricks, like a nutshell, for optimization? Do you need to, or like
Um,
clustering, indexes, like what they're offering?
So the indexes.
I just random, like maybe they don't
So
have
no,
indexes.
no,
I
no.
don't know.
So since we use managed tables, they do vacuum and optimize commands, but there is a lot of optimization. Well, definitely allowed around. Just a moment. The so as I mentioned, the Delta table format is just nothing but the Parquet file with the transaction log on top of it. So we can work with the file size and optimize the file size, depends on the, I guess, data. So I think the optimal size is 128 megabyte for the per the file. Well, clustering, another technique, we can definitely take a, and we as well optimize the data storage by running the vacuum command, which deletes the old files. As well, we can enable the, I think they call deletion vectors, which allow, I think in a nutshell, it allows not to write all the files. There are some pointers on the files that should be kept and should be not kept. When we query the table, we'll definitely, well, depend on the patterns, we can definitely take a look on the optimization.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we have not much time left, but assuming we cover more or less design of solutions, and then assuming you hook the BI tool, what kind of BI tool will you take?
Oh my God. Why I say oh my God? Because Azure is something that I'm trying to get out of it.
No, you can use third party tool, like where
Yeah.
you, because you need to build dashboards, right? What are you
Well,
gonna use?
yeah, you know what? Again, if we need quick solution, I would actually use, again, because that doesn't seem like we need too many metrics at this point, and we can definitely leverage the Databricks native solution. I mean, there's actually a very good suite right now, like not even talking about AI, backend of the Databricks, like AI BI solution, Genius, and everything. But right now they offer quite a good way of presenting the data for the end users. And if the metrics are not too complicated, it's really neat. So right now, actually, Databricks implementing the semantics layer, the so-called metrics, which actually allow to build unifying layer for getting the metrics out of the data, and looks like works very well for our type of the case. Yeah, so I guess on top of that, we can implement some alerting, we implement some data quality. So for data quality, we could definitely leverage some third, like Databricks. If we gonna use full-on Delta Life tables, there is, I guess I went back from BI, but just talking about data quality, because I think that should be part integrated to our solution, because it's really important. We have many sources, and definitely.
Okay, for
Yeah.
data quality, what exactly you want to check? Like I assume you need to use some kind of data observability, data quality, and have some kind of checks in between and for your data pipelines. What solution you want to use?
Well, I guess I would take a look to things. I would take a look at the maybe data in transit and data already written to the storage. So for data in transit, we can definitely, if we do use Delta Life tables, but not necessary, they have so-called expectations, which allow kind of work with data in transit. And for example, if there is some data we don't want to see in the later stages, or we want to quarantine it, we can, for example, usually between bronze and silver. Well, I guess, and depending on the structure of the data, right? So for example, silver, we can do this. So we can implement something like this. And then maybe Well, I guess there could be different steps,
But
or
do you want to use framework, or you want to just use the Python code? Or
um, I would. It again, it depends. So Databricks itself, Delta has like right now it has constraints. So there are things that actually we can do with Delta as well, depending on how fancy we need the framework. Delta itself has some constraints, so-called, and we can see if the data coming is conforming to our rules. We can definitely use framework right now. There are this framework like DQX that can not, it's really not hard to set it up. It's actually done specifically for PySpark. I would actually try to use it because I think it's going to be a big thing with Databricks. So that's for data in transit. So for data at rest, basically when data is written, we can definitely use some queries with dashboards and alerts and notifications. So because we can run certain queries on schedule and see if the data works well. Now there is Lakehouse monitoring that actually uses some more fancy, maybe ML technique to analyze the data. Something, I don't know if it's same as Monte Carlo data, but Monte Carlo, I think it's called Monte Carlo data. But they do use sort of machine learning, I think, technique to analyze data, something that people cannot notice themselves, but it looks like getting more popularity with Databricks as well. Yeah, I think right now there are enough options that is very closely related to Databricks, not necessarily using outside solution. Maybe for the beginning, I would not have even try outside solution. I would try to achieve something in-house. If that becoming like complicated, the data becomes messy, something that it's hard to manage, just doing native code, I would definitely maybe outsource something like Monte Carlo, like Soda actually getting some momentum as well, looks like with Databricks. Again, if we use dbt, for example, with Databricks, which looks like Databricks claims many users in dbt using Databricks, don't know about that, but definitely that could be as well as a test opportunity to do testing and data quality.
Okay, that sounds good. So I think one of the couple last topics, one of them, how you gonna do like development production environments in Databricks and split it, right? And so from developer perspective, how you make sure you're not working in production, and how you will organize your development environment, and maybe you will. And this is one question about this. The second question, what is about infrastructure as a code that you might should bring it already, like, okay, this like we don't want to clicking around, like we want to host our environment as a code that we can copy clone it. Yeah, those like couple
Sounds
questions.
Good. Yeah, definitely. So okay, I can talk a lot about it, but I'll try to be concise. So it definitely depends on the case, but I guess the common direction for Databricks is that and I guess for the platform, like I'm looking right now in Databricks, but we do have other parts of the solution. We definitely should use infrastructure, the code that we store the definition of our platform and the services in the code, so we can have I guess I'm not going to go too deep into explanation why we need it, but Terraform is a great solution for that. So we can keep the definition of our resources in the repository. So I think at this point, Terraform is very well suited for all or majority of the Azure services. It very well works with the Databricks itself. Now, that's about maybe the skeleton of our solution. So I don't know about keeping pipelines as a Terraform. I don't have experience in that. I guess if it's needed, but I think, yeah, don't know how the managed solution deal with the Terraform. I know that when it comes to the Databricks, we can set up Unity catalog. So there is many things. When we talk about account and workspace setup, I would defer this to Terraform, like the global things. When it comes to the, so if we have some complicated workflows or any complicated setup for the infrastructure, I might defer to API. Again, depends on what we have, but I would definitely start with Terraform. Now, when it comes to managing environments, again, I would set up environments, and by environments, I'm talking about dev, UAT, and prod. That's standard. And I guess I would start from dividing environments into the workspaces, using one workspace per environment. We can definitely go around and using catalogs or meta stores for the environments. But I guess depends on the preference. I prefer to manage environment through workspaces. So as I mentioned, three environments: dev, test, and UAT. So dev, just having developers place where they can experiment and do their feature branches. And so as I'm saying that there's feature branches, so we're gonna use version control to manage the data, manage the code of our solution and promoting them through the environments. There is a native for Azure is Azure DevOps, or we can use GitHub. If there is nothing set up, I would go with Azure DevOps. It's pretty. I don't think there is a difference. I think if we want to go cheap, we can definitely go to GitHub, but I imagine we want to lock down our GitHub. So as well, when it comes to CI/CD and the version control. So the version control I mentioned, we're going to be using repos. For the CI/CD, Azure DevOps, and specifically for Databricks, I would use Databricks asset bundles, as in recently Databricks asset bundles that were released to help to manage the I guess what they allow is to put as much as possible in the repo as a code. So it allows to keep almost all the assets as a code, like notebooks, pipelines, workflows, endpoints, schemas. It is very helpful solution just to keep all our assets in the repo and have as much as in the code. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. And from networking perspective, so if we talk about enterprise, like great solution, assuming we're growing,
yeah,
what kind of security considerations you might consider, and how you can enforce it in Databricks workspace?
all right. Well, first of all, we need to, well, first of all, register all the users and provide them secure access to the platform. Then when it comes to, so Databricks, first of all, has a way to manage the platform via security principles. We can create identities that allow to, which we can give access, for example, Azure DevOps to manage our infrastructure. Now, when it comes to securing access to the platform itself, like private network, there are several options. Well, we can build everything from the ground up, or if we have a network, we can do, I think, VNet injection, so-called. It depends definitely on the data we have and how much of the requirements of the top management. it does become complicated when we need to lock down everything very very hardly, I would say, um, because when we want to connect some services or like some BI solutions, but I guess if we're thinking about brightest future, we would definitely want to lock down the Databricks and enable private access to Databricks well, I guess our platform in general, because not only Databricks, but in general, we can set up access to our platform only via VPN, only enabling the VPN to secure our data and assets. And we can, so Databricks actually very well connects to even maybe uses right now the managed identities to connect even to storage, maybe to key vaults. So it does have a very well tailored suite for secure connections. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Like the couple topics that we didn't have time to chat more, I didn't get the answers. One of them, then we talk about incremental load. You mentioned about CDC things that is makes sense, but still wasn't clear exactly about mechanism, knowing that we have like different systems like database, NoSQL database, API.
All right.
Then another topic that's like data modeling. I brought it once, like something about like, oh, at least mention, oh, I will probably go with dimensional modeling, slowly change dimensions. So how handle changes.
Okay.
This is, yeah. And I think everything else is good. You cover everything. I can see the good knowledge of Databricks and the Azure platform, and all recent features as well. So that's good. And probably I would like maybe, yeah, potentially it is possible to dive deep on any of the topics, very deep, but doesn't need. So my focus more like general end-to-end solution, and I see you cover it in the ability to understand requirements. Also, one of the question was to talk about maybe, especially then we talk about gold layer. And one of the topic was, oh, what other product metrics or what other marketing metrics? So showing your domain knowledge, or at least asking a question. Oh, they probably want to like product metrics. They want to see not only active users, but maybe build some kind of cohorts, or maybe, and I think it's a hot topic right now, AI, right? To mention like, oh, in Databricks, like for self-service users, they can use assistant to write the code, or like we can also benefit from this collaboration with machine learning team. They can build the feature store, and maybe another topic very often happening is reverse ETL. So assuming from Databricks you need to write back to the application, right? Maybe there's the way to do it. Or also sometimes with other partners and customers, you can use the data share in Databricks. So you can build like sharing the data. And I think they also have cloning. Yeah, and then I asked about dev and prod. You started to talk about this, but was you mentioned all the right things, but for me it was hard to actually see how it's gonna work technically, right? Maybe you can just just clone it or write using some kind of schema will show me, oh, this is my prod, this is my dev. And if we develop in Databricks, also you didn't mention like, was it like notebooks, or I know we can use the wheel, Python wheel, or IDs, like this development cycle that may be very obvious for you. You didn't mention this, but I think since you have the canvas, you can draw way more. The more details you have, the better. And also, I sometimes like to draw first big squares, like this is my source layers, this is my storage layer, this is my processing layer, this is my BI layer, and this is all extra services we can use. Because in Azure, you mentioned only extra services Key Vault, but there is like log analytics, there is some monitoring things to have. And then another topic, you mentioned about DLT versus Data Factory, and I ask you, Oh, how you gonna like sync them together, or like one will trigger another one?
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
know
you asked
that
me.
in Data Factory you can use notebook activity, and or
Um,
maybe you can trigger even DLT, but I'm not sure.
no, for DLT, you need to use API. Right now, they actually finally, after many years, you can trigger workflows. Like literally a month ago, I think they announced.
Mhm.
But we do manage it. So Databricks API, we manage it through Databricks API. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see. No, that's good. Yeah, I think you cover it like 90% at least, and then you just we just don't have enough time to go deeper.
Can
But
I
yeah,
ask a couple of questions?
yeah,
So first of all, actually, I did feel that yeah, it was a lot to cover in general. Is it actually how the interview goes? Like there is a
I
lot to cover and how to focus. Like it literally, I need to. I actually liked it, but I thought like, do I just say a couple of sentences about each, or what is the
yeah,
best
I
approach?
think what you need to do in your approach, you starting talking a lot
Mm-hmm.
and not to the point. For me, what I trying to, so assuming I start to drawing it and I say I'm using Data Factory, and I
Mm-hmm.
should be ahead of the time telling, yeah, I use the Data Factory, but I have alternatives, including even Airflow that I can host in like
Mm-hmm.
container service. So I always, for pretty anything that I put here after the source layer, I will outline multiple options. Like I will just speak about it to show me, oh no, I'm no, like because then we talk with you, it was obvious you know the Databricks, but if we will start, I say, no, I don't like Databricks. Let's use Snowflake. I assume it was harder for you. You have less experience.
It was,
That's
yeah.
why that's
Yeah.
why you should like, oh, like we can use Snowflake, Databricks, or even Azure SQL if data manageable size.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to use Databricks because I think we get benefits from Delta and machine learning integrations
Mm-hmm.
and some other thing. So you need trying to guess or like outline multiple options because
Mm-hmm.
system design it's trade-off. You can use
Yeah.
multiple options for each of the step, each of operations, and that's how it usually works for me. But
Sounds
also
good.
trying to be very very short, my two three sentence to answer and see the reaction. Maybe, oh, like, do we want to like go deeper?
Mm-hmm.
If you ask about medallion, actually, yes, you say yeah, yes, bronze, silver, gold, and dedication of each layer,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of it. Like it's talking about some Delta Lake benefits. Or then I talk about Delta and Iceberg, like a couple sentences. Say, yeah, Delta is a Databricks format. That's the more popular than Iceberg, and I just go by default with Delta, and yeah,
Yeah.
don't expect any other. I think they even have the Iceberg mode to help people migrate from external solutions like Trine or whatever with Iceberg to
Yeah.
the Databricks because now it's supporting easily. Yeah, that's it. But I mean, you did it really well.
Sounds good. Yeah. It's definitely a skill, but it throw me off. I think they call off guard. Definitely many things to cover, and yeah.
Yeah, and you need trying to be like to cover to the point, and because through this interview I understand that you have experience with the tools, even if like you know some of them, some no, but you have experience with building the systems, data engineering system, you know the sequence of the steps,
Mm-hmm.
and it tells me even if you don't know something you're going to figure out it because you saw it, you heard this, so it's going to work. And even, for example, if we gonna traditional interview like you solve the SQL in the Python,
Mm-hmm.
it is okay. And maybe you tell me some kind of different stories, it's still okay. But here it tells me you actually going to build the system, you're capable to build the system. And this is my favorite interview style.
Mm-hmm.
And
Great.
I and the
I enjoyed.
question, yeah, I had it many times. It's my favorite part because I know, oh God, no lead code. So now we can do it. And then they give me a very similar approach, like assuming this and that, and just go and do this. And yeah, okay, I just start drawing, telling the story, outline the options, pros and
Yeah.
cons for each of the options. Everyone happy. And then they can go deeper. They can ask more questions because the streaming is a like slightly more complicated, because here if you ask stream how you handle, you have like, I don't know, some endpoint and requirements to
here would be
build
hard.
the
Then I need to
real-time dashboard, like how you streamline across Databricks. I think there is the way doing this, but it's slightly different. And then
Yeah.
for example, I can ask, okay, what kind of triggers do we have in Data Factory? Something like this. And or any other functionality. I can ask what kind of Databricks cluster we have. What's the difference between serverless and non-serverless? What's about private links? So basically, I can stop you anywhere in the process and ask deep features.
Great. Yeah. Thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, and basically for you, like, yeah, you need to be capable do the same in AWS environment. If we just come and let's build in AWS the same, or in GCP, it means because that's the difference from, for example, if you used to work only in Azure and Databricks all the time, obviously you can do the work, but how are you going to pass the interview with GCP and AWS?
Yeah, start hating Azure. I'm like, that's too much.
Yeah. That's why I have those like sometimes asynchronous projects, or I give you ideas like, oh, you can actually, if you want to build the projects on AWS or anything, let me know. I can give you like some steps that you can go and build the similar in other public cloud.
With the AWS, I'm more familiar. Actually, I would say I like it even in some cases than Azure, but yes, just GCP not much. But yeah, thanks so much. I think I really thank you for explanation how you do it. I think for me, you see, it's about approach, how you take it. Maybe not sometimes how much you speak, but the approach and the order of things and storytelling. So thank you for sharing your experience.
Yeah. Okay. Then
sounds good.
I will stop recording.